At the end of World War II, Japan was forced to decolonize the Korean peninsula. In its place, the Soviet Union occupied the state north of the 38th parallel, and the United States occupied the south. In 1950, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, under the direction of its first leader, Kim Il-sung, invaded the south and began the Korean War. This war took place within the context of the Cold War, with the North receiving backing from both Communist China and the Soviet Union, whilst the South was supported by the US. The fighting ended with an armistice in 1953, and the demilitarized zone on the 38th parallel has divided the North and South ever since. During this time, successive members of the same family have ruled the North in a harsh dictatorship that has seen almost complete economic stagnation, extreme human rights abuses, international isolation, and the development of nuclear weapons. North Korea survives into the 21st century in its archaic form for many reasons. A major factor is the North's alliances. During the Cold War, it was supported economically and militarily by the Soviet Union as a buffer state, keeping the US influence in South Korea at bay and fortifying communist power in Asia. After the collapse of the USSR, China has come to fill this role to some extent. They are not too keen to have American forces along their border, and so North Korea separates Chinese soil from US troops in the south. China thus supports the Kim dynasty economically and diplomatically, but not as strongly as its predecessor. Indeed, China has many worries about North Korea's behaviour, especially the development of nuclear weapons. Another factor in North Korea's continued survival is the potential backlash of regime collapse. China, Russia, and South Korea all fear the predicted aftermath of such an event. Refugees would spill out of the country and into neighbouring states. Furthermore, South Korea's own desire for reunification is spoilt by the huge difference in economic development. The economic cost of reunification would be colossal. The US and much of the world would also have something to fear in the chance of third parties coming into control of nuclear materials and technology, with a chance of proliferation. All these factors bolster North Korea's position because they present multiple short and long-term drawbacks to regime collapse. North Korea's development of the nuclear weapon and its history as a rogue state have also ensured the Kim regime's continued survival, giving the state a very effective bargaining chip when negotiating with the outside world. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, its major supporter, North Korea started developing nuclear weapons to offset this loss. These weapons have since been used as a pressure valve for securing international aid crucial to propping up Pyongyang. The six-party talks, which were the negotiating platform with the North, saw aid promised in return for the curtailing of nuclear capability. Once aid was delivered, the North simply restarted its development. In 2008, North Korea withdrew from talks and continues to develop its capability. Since then, there have been several new developments within the country. The death of Kim Jong-il in 2011 brought about some short-lived optimism for a change in regime direction under his son, Kim Jong-un. However, the new supreme leader has largely continued his father's policies, and there have been several skirmishes with South Korea. Nuclear development continues, but without the six-party talks, and because of a decision by the Obama administration not to negotiate unless this nuclear project ceases, North Korea has lost much of its leverage to secure aid. This leaves some doubt as to what is next on the North's agenda vis-à-vis the rest of the world.